Good morning, senior living and senior housing operators. This is Farah Gold McLaughlin. I'm here today for Steve Moran and our senior living Foresight partners. We are so excited about the upcoming SMASH conference, and we've got some special partners here with us today. We've got Conversion Logix. We've got Welcome Home. We've got Mom's House with us, and we're going to bring on our special guests because if you're attending SMASH, which is the sold out must be there ticket of the year for senior living operators and especially those marketing and sales directors. You don't want to miss today's conversation. We brought our coffee, we brought our water, we brought our beverages, and I'm excited to introduce to you today. We have Jeff Gronemeyer, correct me if I'm wrong,
That
Conversion
was
Law.
perfect.
Ah, fantastic. We've got Jess Bryant with Welcome Home and Phillip Vincent with Mom's House. And so we're going to start a conversation. We want to get connected with you next week. If you're a sales leader, a marketing leader, you're running an operating company, you want to talk to our folks today. They are going to help you turn those prospects into residents. So let's start our conversation today. I love Jeff, Conversion Logix. Let's bring you on, and I want to talk a little bit about how we take that prospect that's in our CRM and how do we nurture them and make them that next resident move in. Welcome, Jeff.
Hi, Farah. It's great to be here. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's a great question, and it's a question. Wow, how long have we been asking that question?
It'll never go away, right?
It will never go away. And I think the important thing is, it starts with understanding who that person is. And it's a person who is in a state of fear. They're trying desperately to hold on to old paradigms. They're trying to find ways to remain where they are. And the best things that we can do, it's not the technology. It's not that we have nurturing. It's not that we have the web. It's not that we have the conversion tools. It's the message, the connection, and the relationship that we build within that. And that's one of the great, things that I love, especially about what I get to do now with Conversion Logix, is I get to help craft that message that I can then deliver through those channels. So, I tell everybody, just really consider if there's a tool that can help with conversion, put it on your website, get it. There's no such thing as too many ways for a person to communicate with you. There's no such thing as too many ways to share what you're about or share who you are in your communities and to create engagement. So put those all on there and then work with senior living experts who understand what the message is, who understand what it means to talk to somebody in that fear-based context so that the messaging is relevant and it resonates and really helps people move into that stage of readiness where they can take action and move into your community.
Oh, so true, Jeff. I was in operations. A lot of people know me. I've been around seniors housing for over 20 years. I started in acute care where it was very, very need-based. And when I came to senior living, I thought, well, if we have 1,000 leads in our database, all those people called us, right? They had an immediate need. And that's something that I love in the partnership too, that I know we have with Welcome Home. So Jess is going to speak to us about how, as you said, Jeff, taking and nurturing that lead, but then the process and having the right CRM that's going to support you. Just talk a little bit more about Welcome Home and some of the key tools that you're using too in helping that salesperson as they work with that lead through that process. And then we're going to talk about Mom's House and how they're going to really help you get that house sold and move you along. But Welcome Home is a powerful CRM tool that's going to help, as Conversion Logix also sits in a platform to help nurture that lead to become a move-in. Jess.
Yeah, thanks, Farah. It's really straightforward. We are made for senior living. We are made with senior living in mind. There's other platforms out there, but we pride ourselves on being in this really important niche group of people who need some kind of software to manage their database, to manage their sales process, and really get to the heart of what can I do for this resident? What can I do for this prospect in order to get them to become a resident? And one thing that actually is going to be talked about at Smash by Teddy Helfrich, our senior VP, he's going to be talking about mining for gold in your prospect database that already exists. Your next move-in is already in your platform. So the importance of going back and looking and nurturing these people through a long process. It's not always a quick turnaround of 30 days. Sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 3 years, but keeping these people top of mind within your CRM is so important in the nurturing process, like you were talking about. So Welcome Home really does pride itself on being made for senior living, made to be easy for the senior living community and the staff, so that you can find those prospects, get them nurtured, get them into your communities, and hopefully stay there for a good long time. Yeah.
That is so right, Jess. One of the things I've worked with all the CRMs now. I love telling people that I started out with an index box, a pen and a piece of paper 40 years ago before computers. So when I started to get sharp tools, right? Great tools. One of the things that I love about Welcome Home is that the salesperson can actually document those needs. And that's where Mom's House comes in, because Phillip today is going to talk with us about that prospect and that inquiry that comes in that says, here are my obstacles. I have a house, I've got to sell my house. And they use that as a way to really delay making a decision. So Phillip, I'd love to talk with you about how that lead that comes to the website, Conversion Logix, is going to find its way into that Welcome Home CRM. And then now we've got that great data. And that's what's so great about Mom's House. You're able to remove that obstacle. Can you walk us through a little bit about sales leaders going to Smash, coming up to you to say, Mom's House, how are you going to help me help my prospect help their mom sell their home? Uh-oh, we got you on mute. You're sharing some nuggets there, Phillip.
You just got to hit the button.
There we go.
Right?
I don't want him to miss one word.
Hi, Farrah. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Phillip.
I got to hear John talk about Welcome Home, one of these that we were on, and he said that the leads or the families are the lists are getting bigger, but then they go cold, right? And right. I love when you guys just said, hey, your next clients are right there in your database already, but as salespeople in all businesses, no matter what we sell, we're always guilty of just helping the lowest hanging fruit. Right. And so in that database, there is gold there. I totally agree with that. And let's just be blunt here. Do you think it's a big deal to leave your forever home? Of course it is. Of course. I mean, our identity is our house, our stuff, all these things. And it is a big sale to move yourself from your forever home to this new community. And I finally came up with a description that I think kind of the industry, I want them to hear and know. The senior living industry is like a car dealership that does not buy the trade-in.
Wow.
They just don't buy the trade-in. And by the way, I don't want you guys to buy the trade-in. Please don't do that. You guys sell housing, and it's what the family needs, it's what mom needs, it's what dad needs. And they don't realize that till they move in. That's a different topic. But they sell housing, but they don't buy the housing. And currently they do this. Go talk to a real estate agent, and when you figure that out, come back and see us. And what they just did to that customer is they pushed them out the door. They spent all this money on marketing. They push it out the door to say, go, that's not our lane. Go figure that out, because that's the way they think they have to do it. And there's tools out there that show for about every dollar you spend, you get about 60 cents back on the dollar in value. So if a family is tasked with doing a $30, $40, $50,000 rehab, they might only get $20,000 back in a time when their mother needs money to move in. They are being asked to spend money, which is why there's short-term loans and all these other things out there. Guys, to rehab a house, what do you have to do with it first? What's the first thing before you rehab? What do you think you need to do?
Anybody I don't know. That's a great question. I think clean it, right?
Clean it out. Clean it out. And good thing for us, nobody who lives in a house for 40 or 50 years has too much stuff, right? I'm joking. We always say, what do you call a hoarder that you like? I call them an aggressive collector. And so mom wasn't necessarily a hoarder, but she did aggressively collect things. And we're all guilty of this, right? It's the American way. Look at the storage industry. Why do we have storages? We have so much stuff. It's not even in our garages anymore. It's out of the garages. It's into the streets. And now we have to go buy storage. And so the point is, we have a lot of possessions. Our identity is tied in those possessions. So unlocking the equity out of the home, and then also helping them to know what to do with the stuff. And what do I mean by that? Guys, heirlooms leave in about 2 seconds, right? But then after that, it's what do we do with the stuff? And I say away from that J word because I don't think that's a kind word to say, even though there's college honks hauling the stuff I'm talking about. But my point is that helping them with their stuff, when we unlock those two things, it helps everyone in this industry to be not only get care for mom quicker, which is the most important thing, but it speeds the process up. That 28-month average stay, if I can add months onto the front end, what is the value to the industry?
Absolutely, Philip. I mean, I know that Argentum put out data that I used to coach our sales leaders when I ran the Brookdale division during the Great Recession, that said it was our job in sales to take a 3-year decision process and compress it. And we can do it with the tools like a conversion Logix that's going to take that lead, make sure it gets in the right place, the CRM that's going to help that sales leader. But then, as we've documented, just like you said, Philip, think about if I could take that person that called me today and add another year to the quality of life for my mom or dad. Now, some of you know, big shout out, I am a resident. This is my independent living apartment. So all those steps that we're talking about right now, I had to go through too. So it's personal. It means something to me. But now that I'm here, I have a longer life. My husband and I have a longer life. And what we had to do, all of those things, like you said, where am I going to give those heirlooms? Who am I going to donate those things to? How am I going to sell my house? And it was a lot of logistics. And I wish that I'd had Mom's House helping me as well.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to Jeff because this is a circular loop. This is that never-ending conversation that we talked about. The need is there. Jeff, could you speak to that magic process that happens when that visitor comes to our website? And I'm a senior living operator. I'm trying to attract through the marketing that Philip mentioned, that prospect that's looking. Can you walk me through just that little bit of magic? I love that conversion Logix can bring to that inquiry.
Sure. And that's a great way of putting it. It is a little bit of magic. What's happened is traffic has come. The journey is not, linear. It's not a nice, pretty straight line from I've decided that maybe I should do this to I'm going to move into this community. And you just kind of described it. I've got a house to sell, and where do I want to live, and what size, and am I ready yet, and all the different things. So when I coach a sales team and talk about what we do in the lead magic, I draw this big scribbly line,
Yes.
because that's what it is. It's bouncing in, bouncing out, bouncing in, bouncing out. What we do and what we want to do is we want to create as much information easily and readily available. Transparency equals trust. So when we put conversion tools on a company's website, we want to give them that opportunity to have transparency that this is a place I feel safe. You're not going to get an insurance salesman. You're not going to get all the things that we fear. There's nothing to be worried about with learning about the cost or what the size is. We're going to openly engage as a relationship. I call it dating. We put tools on that help you date. So if you think about a dating app, right? You go on, you see a picture, and then you see all the cool things about it, and you evaluate it, and then you can hit like, or you can submit or a text message and do something, and now you have engagement. Now you have the opportunity to be in the CRM. Now you have the opportunity to interact with resources like Mom's House or Patriot Angels, whoever else they may be offering. And that's the key. We got to develop that website and the conversion tools on it so that when people get there, that dating app feel has happened. They can look around, they can search, they can feel engaged. It's transparent, it's open, it's fun, it's real, it's authentic and genuine. Then they have easy access. Here's a button, give me some stuff. Here's a button, let me share some stuff. The more we do that, the better we are, because what happens when you don't is the most dangerous thing. They leave your website. And once they leave their website and they're in the big open world of the internet, we don't know what happens. Maybe more questions pop up, they get delayed more, maybe they find, solution sets that aren't as valuable or aren't as, a good a solution for them. We want them to stay sticky. We want them to stay on that website, with our partners. And that's the way to do it. I hear all the time, Farrah, it's going to be too cluttered. You know what? It's like paintings in the Louvre. You look at some of them and they're very, they're proportioned correctly. And then you see other stuff and it looks like a big scribble. Senior living websites can look like a scribble. They don't have to
That's
be
true.
quite that perfect, as long as they are open and they create the relationship and get them in front of the salespeople where the real action happens.
I love, Jeff, when you talked about and you use that word trust. We trust people when they're sharing a truth, right? When they share pricing. What we continue to hear today is that in that investigation, in that journey where I had a need, I knew that I no longer wanted to live at my home alone, cook my meals. We needed a place where we could have lots of engagement, great quality meals. And that meant I needed to find that right place. Luckily, I was in the business, right? So I knew some places to go, but that having that transparency in the website so the customer experience can be really trust building is so important. I also want to give a shout out to, does anybody else have a phone like this or a desktop? So
Right.
I want to encourage our senior living operators to step away from this idea that everything has to be under one huge platform, when every single day we all have specialty apps that are helping us. Now, the good news is I know most of us here on this conversation have open APIs, can integrate, can work together. That makes that really fun for a salesperson. So I also know that when we present and we're talking about different partners, sales leaders, these are not just one-offs. These are all three work so beautifully together. And that's where I wanted to bring Jess back in, because Jess, I am so impressed with Welcome Home. I continue to hear out in the operating space that someone's let go of one, and I won't name any names, but maybe a platform that had a CRM in it. And they said, we're still going to use this other solution for billing or
Yeah.
possible care planning, but we've now moved to Welcome Home. Can you talk a little bit about sort of that analytics, how the power of Welcome Home, because it's been built around senior living, it really helps the sales leader kind of know when they turn on that Ferrari in the morning, kind of where to go and where to drive that day?
Yeah, I mean, it's like exactly what you said. We pride ourselves on being really good at one particular thing. We don't stretch ourselves too thin to encompass at maybe everything you need, but it's like your phone. We have an app, so we can be on your phone.
Right,
But
right.
it's like your phone where you have these niche apps that handle specifically what you need, and that's what Welcome Home does. That's what we pride ourselves on being able to focus explicitly on your sales process, on your salespeople, and on your prospects. I mean, Jeff talking about the transparency of, we call it the life story because we have a life story section in Welcome Home, but the information gathered from that initial contact is so important, and we want that to remain throughout the process. You're only going to learn more about your prospect. You're only going to learn more about this person's life who you're trying to change by giving them exactly what they need. And you can do that within Welcome Home, and you can track that within Welcome Home. And that's really the heart of just us caring. Listen, care, commit is what we focus on. And so we try to do that as best we can. I think we do a pretty good job of it, but it's really those analytics and all of the reporting functionality that we have. I talked about looking for gold in the old earlier, but going through those prospects and making sure that you're doing everything you can for them as they are coming through the system is really important. And I think it speaks to the one thing that we do really well, which is your sales process and
Huge.
focusing on making your lives easier, not harder.
Yes, it's huge. I mean, I want to touch on that because, again, I'm going to use some real-time examples. My husband, as people know, is pretty much a vegetarian. He'll eat fish maybe once a week. But that was an important part of his profile and what went into our CRM and how that was nurtured. And then pushing out the menu, making sure Donald knew that here are the 5 different choices that we're going to have on the menu this week for your vegetarian experience. Now, I want to go back to Phillip because I have to tell you, when I made my move from a big country club, gated community, private house, over 2,500 square feet of stuff, I really want to walk through, as I was a prospect too, And most of our millions of prospects out there, we're having an experience where our adult children don't want the china I inherited from my grandmother. Our, we were worried about an HVAC system that had to be replaced. Philip, kind of walk me through, as a marketer that's going to use conversion Logix to help build trust, WelcomeHome to nurture that lead. And now they come to mom's house. Kind of talk about the relational ways that you're able to help your clients and these prospects let go, knowing that they can let go. I can't wait to hear some of those stories, and I know they're going to hear them at Spash as well. Could you share like a distinct story in your mind with a lady like me that had grandma's china nobody wanted?
It's painful, right? It's hard to give it away. There's a lot of resentment that builds up during this time. My ungrateful granddaughter, I've heard 100 times. It's not easy. And what I've noticed about this industry, I've only been in it for 12 years, but I've noticed that we all need to be experts in our lane, but then we also have to have an arsenal or a bench around us that surrounds them with solutions.
Yes.
And so daughter Judy and the seniors, I've heard it say they felt like they were on an island a lot, meaning they didn't have the checklist of what to do to be ready to move mom into senior living, whether for themselves, daughter Judy, or for the senior themselves. It's this, there's both paths, but we deal with both in our business, and letting go of this stuff is not an easy thing. And so what it does, it's a conversation with them about what they feel is important. And so some daughter Judy's, when they come in, they say everything here is trash and just get rid of it, all the way to, I think this collection of salt and pepper shakers was worth $30,000. And so when somebody says that to me, they're telling me their hot button, kind of like your husband and being a vegetarian. If that's their hot button, I have to find a solution. I have to find the guy that collects salt and pepper shakers to make that process easier. I have to overcome the things that are overcomeable. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I have to help.
We're using it.
I have to be overcomeable with everything I do. It's finding them at their level. What I've noticed about heirlooms is that they leave in about 30 minutes. The guns, the gold, the stamp collection, anything of a value, that's gone. It's gone before I get there. And now what's left is a workout equipment from 1985 that's in the basement that's in perfect shape, dad's VHS collection that's in the living room for some reason, taxes from 1973, fabric and books and and what I like about this business, this fulfillment I get to learn about the people. Their stuff tells me a lot about them. And I'll give you a great example. I've got one guy, he travels the nation. He happens to live in St. Louis, but he travels the nation buying families' LP record collections. And for anyone under 30 that's listening, an LP record is a piece of plastic, and you lay it on this thing, and there's this little arm that goes on it, it spins around, and it makes music. And so for everyone else, what LP records you listen to as a kid, that's your memories.
Right.
And you
Elton John, Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah, well, just when you hear it, right? When you hear Motown or you hear whatever, like, a lot about that family, and getting to know that family, helping them understand what was important to them. One of my favorite things to do, and this is so easy for anyone listening, if there's some object, you went from 2,500 feet down to obviously less than 2,500 feet, there was objects that you love that you couldn't bring. Can I take a really cool artsy picture of it, frame it nice, and let you have that memory? Right.
Here's the lamp. Here's a lamp. All the lamps I wanted, this is the one I brought with me.
And for a reason, right?
Yeah, well, there's just memory tied up in it, just like you said. Now, I'm going to tell a little story on you. I heard about it. I can't remember who told me, but just like you're going back to that China collection, and it helped me. And it was, here's this big 12-piece China collection, and it taught me something. And I know I heard it through a mom's house testimonial, that their mom brought the two of the cups, the teacup and saucer, so that the entire set, and just like what you said, with each of you as specialists, knowing you can connect your resources, as you talked about, Phillip, to the broader community, there is someone who does love that China set that I had. And we were able to find a home for it, but I did take, because I had heard about this through a mom's house, two of the cups and saucers, and now they're here in my apartment. Ironically enough, they're still so special because they were in my China cabinet before. I don't use them every day. But when I open that cabinet, I can see them. And those are the ways I love when Jeff talk about conversion logics and building those trust. When you can have a partner like Mom's House and then Welcome Home as the CRM, building those touch points as various tools. You know, a chef doesn't use just one knife in a kitchen, and a chef doesn't use just one pot to make a gourmet meal. And in seniors housing today, I know you're really looking, you're struggling. If you're a sales leader, if you're a senior VP of sales, you're saying, what can I do to help my community team? You know, here are 3 partners, here are 3 amazing solutions. So conversion logics, 1 minute, Jeff, can you kind of sum up? What do you hope to do next week at Smash? I'm going to give everybody 1 minute as we close. Jeff, you get to go first for Smash next week. Your big hope for next week and who you connect with.
Thank you. You know, my big hope is that we open up some ideas, we open up strategies, we push things forward. I think Smash is so awesome because it really does give people like Phillip and Jess and all their teams, it gives us a chance to get together, sit down, and really find ways to elevate and to move things forward. I'm at a conference today and we're talking about the impact of occupancy. We're talking about what that means for mergers and acquisitions and new developments and the things that allow buildings to exist. Yes. So when you get groups like us together at Smash and you give us an opportunity to brainstorm together and come up with solutions and partnerships that help each other be successful, that give the people more resources so this journey is not quite as big a scribble, then I think you come out of Smash with just an amazing experience. And that's what I'm hoping for. So just 1 million people to talk to and a lot of great brainstorming and crazy ideas that we bring back and turn into reality.
Thank you, Jeff. See the links too. So if we're viewers, we're going to repost. You can link in and reach out. If you're not LinkedIn, each and every one of you gets LinkedIn requests. And then Jess, let's talk about your hopes for, you know, Smash and Welcome Home next week and connecting with those great sales leaders.
Yeah, it's really about connection. It's really just humanizing this process is so important in the prospect world and in the relationship world. So creating those relationships with our existing clients and people who might be future clients is so important to us. And that's really what our team is about. And I'm going to be there. I'm a customer success manager. And so our sales team, Teddy, is going to be there. I've got a couple of
yeah, Sierra's
there's Sierra. She's in there in the chat. Our brilliant marketing expert. We have so much planned. We have so much, and we're just excited to see everybody. There's people that I haven't even met face to face yet. I've only met them on Zoom. I want to connect with you all. That's exactly what we're there for, and to just make it meaningful and have ideas that come out of this that change Welcome Home for the better is really what we're all about.
Changing lives. Thank you. And Phillip, you know, I have to tell you, I had so much fun this week at our Leading Age conference, really getting to hug Phillip. And each of you have touched on something so important that we're modeling, and we're modeling it here today, that we're all in relationship with each other. We really do care about each other. And Phillip, could you tell us about your dream and your hope for next week that Smash makes a difference for the operators?
Sure. I mean, my dream has already gotten bigger than I ever imagined, to be part of the senior living sales process in the CRMs of this industry, because this is such a big problem. That was a dream. And so I think what I want to talk to people about at Smash is that the past 12 years, actually the past 14 years, we've had no recession in 14 years. And if you look at the last 100 years of our country, every 5 to 7 years, we've had a recession. And it's been 14 years since we've had a recession. And no one wants to hear that when we finally started to get occupancy, you know, post-COVID, it's starting to come back. Well, guys, the past 90 days with the interest rates changing in real estate, we just said that the house is 90% of the time they need to do something with it before they move in. And the slowdown in real estate can be problematic for the senior living industry. And I'm not a doom and gloom guy, but I want to let everyone know that you don't have to suffer through this. Every morning, my inbox is inundated with this word called price reductions. The past 2 years, there hasn't been any price reductions. Houses were selling for 50, 100 grand over asking. That stopped. I'll take another LP. The needle came off the record. That is over. And we're in this new world where I think the interest rates are going to keep climbing. And the houses that are sitting are the dated houses that do not have been updated. The houses that are selling are the ones that are rehabbed to the nines. I'm not saying the family should rehab them. I'm saying options like Mom's House will speed this process up for this industry. If you've been in senior living for less than 12 years, you've only ever known an up real estate market, and it's starting to slow down, and it's lagging, but it's going to show up. And I remember in 2008, 9, and 10, when people would beg me to buy their house, I don't want, if we get to that point, guys, you can't have the wheels stop on your process too. They need that money a lot of times out of the home to move in. There are solutions for that. And so I'm going to shout from the rooftops. Mom's House will take care of the
Is
house.
there to help, right? Mom's House is there to help. That's
right.
how I want to close today's show. Each and every Conversion Logix, Welcome Home, Mom's House, all of you as leaders in relationship to our senior living operators and sales leaders, next week it's about let us help you, right? So if I can leave you with one message, if I heard that at a community level or a regional level, or when I was a corporate level, that would so resonate with my heart in relationship to you, because each of you work together. I know obviously you can work separately as solutions too. The knives in the kitchen can work separately, but when we can use them all to peel and pare and chop, we're going to get that dinner made, and we're going to be able to have a banquet of choices and the right offering to bring a resident to sit literally at our table, as I use that metaphor, of having a great living experience, because that's what we're here. We're here, all of us here at Senior Living Foresight, our partners, we're here to help you, owners, investors, operators, to make your lives better, because you're helping the lives of other residents, families, prospects, and our associates. So thank you all today for joining us. We can't wait to see you next week at Smash. Have a great day.